So this is a pretty interesting story, actually. I saw what was it, Johnny Carson? I think it was Johnny Carson. Interview of a kayaker named Ed Gillette who kayaked from San Francisco to Hawaii. First of all, you have to be able to do that. I mean, if you miss, you're going to pass it and you're going to die. So, anyway, I think that's what brought my attention to Mr. Ed Gillette and his wife Katie originally. I was so amazed. I was like, really? I paddled from San Francisco, and I remember because I lived in San Francisco for a couple of years. I had roommates that would surf down at Ocean Beach. We had an Ocean Beach up in San Francisco, right off of San Francisco State, and I would never surf with them because the beach was littered with carcasses of half-eaten seals, sea lions, whatever they are. So I wouldn't surf, even though I was, big-time surfer. I'd grown up surfing. I've always surfed. But I was up there just working on a couple degrees and shit. So anyway, Ed, he started off in a very long kayak. I forget how long it was. It's 20-something feet, I forget. It was a two-person kayak, and of course you had to have all your supplies. You gotta have all the food, and he had a what do they call those? Those water purifier things. I forget what they call them, but anyway, so he would purify water every day from the salt water with this device, and so he'd do a gallon, between 1 and 3 gallons a day, and he said it took up to 3 hours. Kind of crazy, you think about that. You got to spend 3 hours just creating the water so you can survive. So anyway, he's in this big kayak. He's got enough food, and eventually he runs out of food. But the water purifier is still working. So anybody who's an athlete knows you can go weeks without food. I mean, I've gone on a 32-day fucking fast, no food for 32 days. But you got to have water. Gotta have water. But most people, they'll get to the after. Oh, I'm starving to death. I'm starving to death. I need food. Well, no, you don't. You really don't. You're uninformed. And we'll just leave it there. I mean, I could say you're confused and stupid, but basically, you're just uninformed. The human can go, well, depending on your fat content, but the average human can go for weeks without eating. But you can't go for very long without water. So that's the interesting thing about this trip. When you think about it, Ed had total confidence in that water purifying system that he had, that device. And then he had a beacon. He had one of those, what do they call them, an EPIRB. So, if he really got in trouble, if he started, dying of thirst or something happened, he could have, pushed the button on the EPIRB and, Coast Guard or somebody would have come and saved him. But I mean, he's way the fuck out there. I don't know. How far is it from here to uh, the Big Island? It's a long ways. So, push the button, not push the button. It's going to take a while for anybody to get to you. And are they really going to do that? So anyway, Ed got me interested in kayaking, and so I did some solo kayak trips. And people thought I was a little bit not right in the head. And I'm probably not. But and you just can't diminish. You just can't appreciate enough those times when you just go out and do something. And so I would go out and do something. Me and my kayak off the Baja coast, and so I've had adventures. And aside from that, those, I've been in the water with sharks before, and you have to poke them in the nose, and I tell them, "Oh, what do you really don't want to eat me? Go away." But it was a little different. The first lone trip I did a lot of trips with my girlfriend. She was a guide. She was a kayak guide, like Ed was. But the first one I did solo was 9 days. And so I went down to Ensenada, yeah, off the coast there, where the blowhole is. And I found one of the locals there, and I said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm gonna go do a kayak trip. I need a place to park my car, and I'll pay you." So I forget how much I paid the woman, but so she kept my car on the side of her house, and that worked out pretty well. But it was I forget. I think it was about a 2-mile walk to the fish camp. It's fishermen. It's a fish camp. Get all these guys, they got boats on the beach, and they go out and they catch fish every day, and it's just a very cool place. It's fantastic, and a lot of people go there camping. But it was, I don't know, I figured 2 miles up this dirt road. It was uphill, and then it was downhill back to sea level. And I had some stuff I had to carry. Not much, though. Basically a backpack. I mean, I took the stuff out there, dropped it off, took the kayak out there and dropped it off, paddle, and all the supplies, most of the food and stuff, and then I kept the valuables in my backpack and went back, and this woman, she offered to store my car, and I really don't remember what it was, but it was just nothing. It was, "Oh, okay, senor, I store your car for $5 a day." Fantastic. I'm in. Store my car. So she put it on the side of her house under a carport. I mean, there was actually a carport. It's a weird name when you think about it, carport. Anyway, so there was a roof. And you need a roof down there. It's hot. Oh, crotch butt, we do some crotch butt cooking. It's hot. So I walked back out to where I left my kayak and all the supplies and everything. And, the fishermen had been keeping an eye on the stuff for me, and they were great. They were a lot of fun. Even those guys like tequila. Tequila. So the night before I left, big tequila party. Then I left. And I went out to, damn it, I can never remember the name of it. It's the island off of Ensenada. I went out there and spent 2 days, and I hunted down all my food. I'd get in with a, spear pole and a mask and snorkel, and I'd shoot some fish, and there were some sharks. There were some sharks. They didn't bother me, though. Maybe they had heard about my reputation. I have a reputation for abusing sharks. If they come near me, they're in trouble. I'm going to punch them in the nose. I'm going to stick them in the nose with a spear pole. So I don't know what the shark communication network is like, but none of those sharks fuck with me. And there weren't very big sharks. I don't think there were any whites. I don't know what these sharks were. But anyway, I got to spear some fish, and then I ate it raw. I couldn't get the fire started. I was trying to get the fire started, but it didn't work. So I had to just slice up the fish and eat it raw. And that was okay. I mean, I'm into sushi. Sashimi. It's sashimi, actually. There was no rice. No rice in sight. So I spent a couple days on the island, and I swam around it a couple times. And it seems pretty big when you try to swim around it. And the surf was... at that point in time, it was like, I don't know, 10 to 15 foot on the west side. So I had to, swim out to sea to not get taken down by, the giant surf. So that was a little scary, there are sharks in the neighborhood. So you're out there at sea, swimming around. And you're wondering, I could be eaten any moment now. But I wasn't. Seemed like there were more sharks on the inside of the island, on the east side of the island, than there were on the west side. So I don't know, maybe sharks don't like big surf either. They just go on the inside. So the next 7 days of the trip got a little more interesting. I had to camp on beaches here and there. There really aren't any beaches for that first, I don't know how far. I never really saw any real beaches. Everything was all rocks and cliffs and stuff. And it was a time of big surf, so it was one of those things where you had to time everything perfectly. Okay, wait some more. Go for it now! Paddle as fast as you can! And I had the same experience when I was on Kauai. The surf was fucking gigantic when I and my girlfriend were over there for the 2 week trip around Kauai. It just seemed like surf was always big, and it was always fucking dangerous to just try to get to a place where you could camp. And so it was the same thing on this trip. Surf wasn't as big. It seems like they, you have a monopoly on big waves over there in Hawaii. But this was big surf. I mean, I had to time it right. And so I managed to do that. I managed to time it right. I managed to get into the beach every time, alive, and without overturning the kayak. And I was on this beach this one night, and it was all rock. It was fucking rounded rocks. I mean, I think the average size of the rock was something between 6 and 12 inches. These big rounded rocks. They were all round, though, or whatever you want to. Maybe not round, but something like that. They were pretty well worn down from thousands of years of having crushed up against the beach. Or oh shit. So I pitched the tent, and I have to say, no matter how many blankets you have, and I only had one. The intention was to put it on top of me. You pitch your tent on rocks. Guess where the blanket goes? So, had a couple of nights like that. Whew. Just very uncomfortable. Have you ever tried to, sleep on a pile of rocks? I'm not sure what would compare to that, but it's not very comfortable. So anyway, I was there. I think it was the second beach. And I'm about to go to sleep. I'm all worn out. It's not even dark yet, but I'm worn out from paddling all day. I got the tent pitched on the round rocks. Don't they have any square rocks in Mexico? I could have aligned those so it would have been more comfortable. So anyway, I'm about to go to sleep, and I hear this sound. It sounds like a baby. So I didn't know what to think of it. And I didn't do anything. I was so tired. I just, I fell asleep a little while after that. But the next morning I woke up and I heard the sound again. So, of course, I mean, what's a guy to do? I mean, it sounds like somebody deserted a baby on this remote rocky beach in Mexico where there's no access. It's like a cliff. You can't get down here. So why is there a baby on the beach? So I trotted off over to the cliff where the sound was coming from, and there was a baby seal. So, and it was whining. It was dehydrated. It looked bad. It was clearly, not in a good state. So for the next couple days, I fed it some tuna out of some cans I had and poured water on it. And it started to look a little bit better. seemed like it, might make it. I mean, it looked like it was going to die when I first saw it. But after the tuna, a couple days of feeding it tuna and pouring water on it, her, him, whatever, I decided to, bag it. So I I dropped a bag over it and picked it up, and it was, what seals do. It's almost a barking sound. It really does sound a lot like a dog. And so it wasn't happy about that at all. No, that's an unhappy seal, puppy. If that's what they call them. So, but I knew that there was an island about a mile offshore. Not a big island, maybe, I don't know, 100 yards across or something, where there was a seal colony. I mean, the seals are living on this thing. I'd heard about it, and so I knew of it, and so I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. I'll just take this seal, I'll put it in a bag, and one of those yellow net bags, and we take it offshore and see if they want it back, because clearly that's where it came from. Whatever happened, a bad storm or something, the seal got washed onto shore there and abandoned. So I put it in the yellow knit bag. It's a fish bag. It's what you use, catch bag. When you go spear fishing, you use it. And I put it in my lap. And got in the kayak, then put it in my lap and started paddling out. Now, it's a mile, so it takes a while. That seal, that little tiny seal pup, he's looking up at me the whole time. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, who knows what a seal would think, right? But it wasn't, it didn't look scared. It wasn't violent. It just looked like it knew something good was happening. So, call it instinct, whatever. So I got out to that rock island and, covered in seals. The seals swimming around, it's seals all over it. And I took the baby seal and I dumped it in the water, and it swam over and it was trying to, get up the side of the island. It's pretty steep. And finally some other seals jumped in and pushed it up the side of the island and got it up on top. So, but that's not the best part of the story. I mean, that was a fantastic experience. And I mean, the rest of the Mexico experience, I went to a couple other beaches and I did this and I did that. And it doesn't really matter compared to what happened a few years later. I was back in South Mission Beach. And I was out standing in the water. It was a hot summer day, and I was out standing about waist deep in the water with my neighbor, Paul. And, I think there was someone else there. I don't remember who it was, but Paul's unforgettable. He's a fantastic character. So anyway, we're standing there, and all of a sudden, there is a seal swimming around us in circles. And so I had on a mask. I was going to go do some fishing. And so I, leaned down into the water. I mean, it was waist deep, but I leaned down and I looked to see what was going on. The seal had a big halibut in its mouth, and it came right up to me, face to face. And it dropped the halibut on my feet. You talk about magic moments. So of course you have to jump to the conclusion. It dropped a halibut right on my feet, and we ate that halibut that night. And then it swam around me a couple more times, and then it took off. So you have to jump to the conclusion. You know, if you believe in magic. Do you believe in magic? Karma, whatever. I think it was that seal. I think it was that seal pup that I saved years before. I forget what it was, 2-3 years, something like that. And I don't know how that seal got so far north and was just, offshore, because it is 60 miles, whatever, something like that. But I think it was that seal. And you know how birds are able to migrate, thousands of miles accurately. I think this seal had a homing device in its mind for me. Dad saved me. I'm gonna take care of Dad. So we're out there in the water, and this got written up in the Union Tribune because it's such an unusual story. That seal dropped a halibut on my feet, swam around me a couple times, looked me in the face, took off. I think it was that seal that I saved a couple years back, 3 years, whatever it was. So you can think whatever you want about the story, but I prefer to believe in magic. That was one happy day. Whew. And it wasn't because we ate the halibut that night. It was a big halibut, too. That was just a day when I thought, oh my gosh. It makes me want to believe in God or something. But clearly not God. I mean, that's a disaster story. But it makes you want to believe in something big. I guess it makes you want to believe in karma. Do good, be good, get good. Whew, that was a magic day. Not just for me, but for Paul and then everybody who read that article in the San Diego Union, heard the story. So there you have it. That's all I have to say.